Welcome everyone to the Service Scale Up podcast. I am Chris Leo, founder and president of Movu Digital Marketing. We help service companies attract more leads, nurture and delight them, turning them into fanatic customers. Today I want to talk about the referral engine. What if I told you that you could actually double your client base without even spending a single dollar on ads? And get this, without feeling like you're pushing your services to anybody. It's true. It's called the referral engine. If you follow a certain set of processes, you will be able to generate referral business easily and in a non salesy way. Now, I get it. That's really important because most every company that we talk with, when they come across us and we do a discovery call, we always look at how they're generating referral business, and in general we see that they're getting none, and we ask them, why don't you ask your clients for referrals? And they take that as literally like trying to pitch to their clients, and they don't, they don't want to come off as salesy, or they think it's intrusive, or definitely they're we all have pride, right? They don't want to seem like they're begging and all those things. I get it, but if you follow this formula, you don't have to worry about any of that. Case in point, we help all kinds of companies, right, with this, attorneys, CPAs, real estate agents and real estate teams, all kinds of home service companies, plumbers, roofers, HVAC, pest control. Take pest control. We had a client that came to us, based in Sacramento, pest control company, and they were getting zero referral business. Now, fast forward 12 months later, their business, if you take all the leads they get month to month, month over month, 90% of those leads are all referral based. So this process works, and it's something that you need, especially nowadays. Everyone is trying to cut back and looking at how to do more with less. This is for you. So here's my promise. I promise that I'm going to break down for you exactly how this referral engine works in this podcast episode, and give you the actionable steps that you can use to put it in place today. So here's why referrals are your secret weapon when it comes to your growth strategy. Referrals, they're the holy grail, right, guys? I mean, think about it. They have faster closing times. The lifetime value of them tends to be higher, because they again, they already know, trust, and like you, and in that deeper trust, it just makes it a better client experience. So with that in mind, considering how valuable these referrals are and how sought out they are, the kicker to this whole thing is most companies, they have no system in place for referrals. All they're doing is they're just kind of hoping and winging it, and that's not a strategy. Like hope and prayer and winging it, if it's I guess it's something, but it's definitely not a strategy, y'all. So we have to get rid of the wishful thinking, and we have to put some processes in place. Before we do that, though, let's make sure we all agree on why referrals work. So as I mentioned, they show up pre-sold. So somebody that you do business with has told this person about how great your business is and how great your service is. They talked you up. They've pre-sold that person in their mind that they want to do business with you. It's literally the definition of yours to lose. When they call, all you have to do is you have to show up, right? You have to call them back if they leave you a message. If you make an appointment for an estimate, let's say you're a home service company, you need to show up on time to give that estimate, and you need to put your best foot forward and build rapport with them. They're already ready to hire you. All you have to do is just carry it that last mile. And the reason for that is because, we could all talk great about ourselves and what we do all day long. And unfortunately, people have heard it, and they know, man, that guy's really great about talking about himself, but I wonder what's really going on. And when you have a third party that has no dog in this fight, actually talking you up and saying how great your services are, that goes a lot longer than anything you could ever say about yourself. So, because it's not you doing the talking, there's instant extra additional credibility there, and desire for that potential customer to want to contact you based off of that feedback. The other great piece that, of course, all factors into this is, so they're pre-sold on you. They've got the social proof from their friends and colleagues or whoever is referring, and all of that is value. And because of that value, the referral leads that you're going to get, they're less price sensitive. They're not going to slit your wrists or your throat over 50 bucks or whatever. Fill in the blank. Obviously it depends on what you do. If we're talking gutter cleaning versus estate planning, it's a whole different ball game. But you get my point. They're not as price conscious. They're not comparing you to others because they've been told you're the one that they need to work with. So that definitely makes things easier. So let's go back to this pest control agency in Sacramento that I was telling you about. So when we first came into contact with them, they had nothing in place. They had no post job follow up. They had no sort of automation platform. I mean, not even just for referrals, like even for leads that are coming in, like just organic leads or paid leads, like the whole thing was a mess. So we realized, okay, we have to put some strategy here. And when it came to building the referral business, it was actually a lot simpler than you would imagine. Our automation platform has all these pieces in place, but this is also something, if you don't subscribe to somebody, like if you're not our client and you're not using our automation platform, you can do this. It just is going to require a little bit of extra elbow grease. And so the basic strategy for this is, when a job is complete, you want your CRM system to trigger either an automation system or trigger a message within that system that's going to go out to the person and ask them some questions. Now, we like I said, we do this all through our automation platform. This particular client, their CRM was this thing for the pest control industry called Pest Routes. Um, and what it did is, when a job is completed, it hits our system, and then our system sends messages out to the client. And the way that we do it, to ensure that you're going to get more testimonials, which then help build that base and that foundation, because happy customers lead to those happy customers wanting to refer you. And the way that we ensure that you're only ever always going to have happy customers is, we've actually split it into two segments. So there's kind of a two-step process. The first step, a message just goes out and simply thanks the client for the business, and asks them if they would mind, on a scale of 1 to 5, rating the service that they received, with 5 being the highest. There's a little pick list. They don't have to type anything. All they have to do is click the little thing and select the number 1 to 5. So if they rate 4 or a 5, then they get a secondary message that automatically bounces back to them and thanks them. And again, thank you again for the business, and explains to them, one way we get fantastic customers like yourself is through reviews. Would you mind leaving us a review? And it leaves a little Google review link. So they can set that, click that, leave that review, and then they're off to the races. If though that they, let's say they say that their experience was a 1, a 2, or a 3, then immediately a message and text message is going to go to that pest control company saying, hey, you have a problem, you need to deal with this. A message is also going to go out to the client saying, hey, look, we're sorry that this wasn't up to your expectation. Can you do us a favor, and we're going to reach out to you ASAP, but would you mind replying to this message with a brief description of what problems you encountered when we were performing your service, or doing what, you get the point. And so what happens then is kind of twofold. It gives the pest control company an immediate opportunity to reach out and make that right. The faster you make it right, everybody, we're all human. We realize not everything goes perfect 100% of the time. If you make it right, that goes a long way, and that's going to win that person back. Secondly, by allowing them to do that response where they kind of unload on what the problem was, more often than not, that's satisfying enough for the person, so they're not going to spend the time going all over online and leaving 1-star reviews for you. So those automation pieces, and then after that, some post follow up that we do with those same clients that leave the reviews, it primes them and gears them to want to refer you to other people that they come into contact with because you're proactive, you care about them, and you want to make sure that you're doing a great job for them. And that leads them to believe that they can rest assured that if they refer their friends or family or colleagues, that you'll do a great job for them as well. Now I get it. You're probably saying, "Well, what were those extra messaging things that you put into the follow-ups after they leave that review?" And it's really simple. We just have our automated system thank them for the review once they've left it, and include a link that they can click to actually refer friends right then when that review's top of the mind with them. They're the happiest right now, right there in that honeymoon phase. You just got done performing a service for them. We ask them, hey, would you mind clicking this link, and anybody you might want to refer to us, we would be most appreciative. And guess what? It works. And so one, it works. Two, the owner of the pest control company didn't have to like call themselves and feel like they're trying to upsell them further on something, or some multi-level marketing whatever, or they're begging, all the reasons that we're told all the time that people don't want to ask for referrals. And the reality is if you do a good job for somebody, we all humans, all of us, 90% of us, actually, they did a study on this in the real estate industry, but I think this holds true to everyone. 90% of people that you ask for a referral, they're going to actively try to actively listen to people and be a referral source for you. But here's the trick: it that hinges on if you actually ask them. Because believe it or not, as crazy as it sounds, the average person doesn't think about the fact that referrals are the lifeblood of any business, and it'll definitely help. But if you point that out to them, they're going to want to help you. This pest control company in Sacramento, their referral volume went up 37% in just 90 days. That's literally the difference that a little bit of automation and a couple of small tweaks can make. All right. So I know the next question you're going to ask is, what is this automation you speak of, and how do we implement it? And so that's where it really gets tactical. You don't need to ask for referrals. I just gave you an example of exactly how you can avoid doing that. What you want to do is you want to use automation to invite them. So definitely, there's going to be a post-service text or email. And like I said, I highly, highly recommend doing it in 2 steps. Again, you can do this manually. You could have your office manager manage it. It's probably going to require like a Google Sheet where you're keeping track of like who's getting what message. But automation platforms, like ours, or there's others out there as well. It could definitely handle it. And it just basically, the process is you wanna vet and make sure they're happy. Once you get that great review, tell them that you're glad that they're happy, and ask them if they know anybody that could benefit from the same type of service that you asked, that you just performed for them. So that's in a nutshell, that's how it works. Um, what I would do is I would avoid offering incentives. I know some people, we work with a couple of moving companies, for instance, where they work with realtors and interior designers, and they in essence, they bribe them for the business. And so what they do is they give out, I think it's $50 or $100 Amazon gift cards anytime they get a referral that closes. And I guess for something like that, where it's a one to many relationship, in other words, it's not just an individual homeowner, the moving company is working with a realtor that arguably could refer, dozens, if not like 100 clients over a course of a calendar year. Maybe that makes sense. But remember, at the end of the day, your service is valuable. You don't want to devalue it by doing some crazy, wacky, uh, you know, and that's not all. Order today and get whatever kind of, made for TV offer. Um, if you must do an incentive, just make sure that it makes sense. Maybe it's like a first time customer discount for any referral, and it's just a small percentage. It's more of like the spirit of it than the actual savings, if that makes any sense. Um, so that's definitely something that I would consider. And you know the the post service texts or emails, they're a great way to accomplish getting these referrals. There's other ways though, and here's a really interesting one. You can even use social media channels to do this. So there's a lawn care company in Austin that we work with, and what we did with them, they had a knack for creating photo and video content for befores and afters of the projects that they were working on, and they were really pretty darn good at it. Like they didn't freeze. A lot of people freeze up and they're like, "Oh, I don't know how to work this camera to make it look good, this or that." There, we just told them, "Don't worry about it. Just go out with your cell phone, shoot it, send it to us, and let us worry about it." And so what we did, it was super simple. We created reels that are before and after, and in the post copy, we put, check out this job we recently completed for, and then we actually tagged the Instagram account of the homeowner, and then would put something like, looks pretty great, doesn't it, or something. Make note of something that's custom, so it looks like the post is definitely custom written for that property. And what ends up happening is this: we're all proud of our homes, right? And we all like to pump ourselves up a little bit. So more often than not, the homeowner ends up seeing that post. They get all excited. They end up sharing it on their feed. All of their friends and neighbors that they're connected with on social media see that post. And some of those friends and neighbors are then going to call that lawn care company and ask them for quotes on lawn care. So literally, in that instance, you're not even asking for a referral. You're just putting the breadcrumbs out there and making it so there is a direct, quick, easy way for them to get referrals for you without you actually having to ask them for it. So when we first started discussing, how to generate more referrals, we talked about getting online reviews. And online reviews are definitely a piece of this. If you want to successfully close more referrals, you have to have online reviews. So the referral is great. You want that. But if somebody Googles you after getting referred and sees that you don't have any online reviews, or your online review rating is bad, you're dead in the water. So if that's the case and you don't have, think of it as like building a house. You want a nice strong foundation. If you don't have a nice strong foundation, there's no point in building anything else higher up, because it's just all going to come collapsing, right? Same thing with your referrals. Don't enact your referral strategy until you've got your review strategy on point. So to do this, what you need to focus on is Google Business. So there's a few things to this. You want to make sure your Google Business profile is completely optimized. Make sure you've got everything filled out. You've got recent photos on there. You've got FAQs. You can even ask the questions yourself and answer them yourself. Google lets you do that. If you ask specific questions that are the most common types of questions that people are Googling to find your service, that's perfect, because you're going to show up in those searches. So then once you've got it loaded with, descriptions and FAQs and photos, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have that two-step referral, or I'm sorry, review ask in place. And even one step further, you want to word the request in such a way that you're encouraging contextual reviews. What do I mean by that? I mean this. So if you're a wills and trusts attorney and you did a living will for somebody, you want them to mention that in the review itself. If you are a gutter cleaning company and you just completely removed and reinstalled brand new shiny gutters, on somebody's home, you want them to mention the actual service you did. Again, the text in the description in those reviews, it serves two purposes. One, it shows that person that's been referred to you that now is going to Google Business to do their due diligence on you. It shows them, oh, look, those are the types of jobs that I need done. They do those. They're great at them. Fantastic. The other thing, though, quick cheat code, all those words and those reviews, they get indexed by Google. Google knows all. So the more specific the reviews can be, the better. So definitely make sure that any way you can, they're leaving some sort of contextually accurate, talking about the service or how fast your response was, how great your and friendly your team was, things like that. Also, here's a pro tip for you. If you're looking for a little extra fuel in the tank so you show up in more searches when potential referrals are going out online to kind of vet you and see what you're all about, create a bunch of blog articles on your website. And these blog articles, they have to be focused on one specific concept. You want to take the most common questions that people would be typing into Google when they're looking for your service, and you want to write blog articles that answer all those common questions. If you do this, they're going to get indexed by Google, and that's going to be yet another spot you're showing up online in the search results. And again, it's going to give that potential referral this feeling that, oh, these guys know how to deal with my, fill in the blank problem. I want to contact them. I've actually even got an example of how this really works. Not to I guess hang too long on the idea of pool service companies, but this was probably one of the most successful ones that we ever created. So, for the sake of argument, I'll just explain it to you. We have another pool service that we work with out in the Southern California region, let's just say. And one of the things that we did for them was we put together articles that are seasonal based that each article talks about a different type of time of season and the things that you need to do to your pool and your pool equipment to make sure that it's operating at optimal levels at all time, to make sure that the pool is operating at optimal levels at all time. So fast forward now 3 4 months, something like that, and then what we found when we look at traffic sources, those articles are actually the number one source of lead submissions on their website. And again, it's because it was answering the exact questions that those people had and how to solve it. And so when they saw that, they're like, "Oh, these guys understand what I need. They know how to do it. I don't want to do it myself. I'm going to ask them for a quote." And it's really that simple. All right. So we've talked about a few very effective ways that you can ask for referrals without actually asking for them, so you don't have to feel salesy or desperate, things like that. The reality is, though, we need to address the elephant in the room here. You're eventually going to have to ask for referrals. It's your job as a business. It's your livelihood. It's your employees' livelihood. If you can do those things and then generate more business, wouldn't you do it? So what we need to do is we need to stop making this weird. You're not begging for business or looking desperate. You're giving people a chance to actually be the hero in somebody else's story. And at the end of the day, we all want to be a hero to our friends and family and colleagues because, we like, we love, like, know, trust, fill in the blank, them, right? We want to do something nice for them. And this is a perfect opportunity for us to be able to do that. So some of the easiest ways to do this are just picking milestones. So for instance, we talked about at the completion of a project. That's a fantastic time to do it. It's fresh on their mind. Like I mentioned, I equated it to it's the honeymoon period. Birthdays and holidays are a great opportunity. You can basically send a nice message to them, to your client, saying like happy birthday, we hope you're having the best day ever with family and getting to relax. um, Thank you again for trusting us with X, Y, and Z. Hey, by the way, we referrals are a giant part of our business growth. If there's anybody that you can think of that would love the same service that we gave you, please let us know, something like that. You can also wait for great customer feedback moments. Sometimes, what we see is with our clients, all of a sudden a new Google review will pop up and a customer has actually edited a prior review. And the reason they did that is because they basically wanted to give some roses to the actual service tech that went out and did the last service. So it could be like, you know, maybe like I got my lawn care done, and there's a new guy that came out, and I met him, and let's just say for sake of argument, his name was Jack. So then I'm gonna go. I've already left a review, but I'm gonna go and I'm gonna edit that review, and I'll say, hey, Jack is amazing. This lawn care company always gets it right, and I'm really happy that Jack is taking care of my lawns or something like that, right? You're going to get that alert. That's actually another opportunity. The door is open now. I am super stoked with the service that you're offering. All you have to do is just give me a call and say, "Hey, I really appreciate you giving us feedback on Jack. He's new, and he's new to working for us, and he's learning the ropes really quickly, and your feedback was really appreciated. Hey, by the way, do you happen to know anybody else that might need lawn care services?" So again, it's automatically opened the door for that. Remember, again, the key here is you will get referrals provided that you ask for them. I mentioned briefly earlier in this podcast, that there was a study done by, I actually, come to think of it, I think it was the National Association of Realtors that actually did the study, but they looked at the real estate industry. And this is where, way back when, like, I don't know, 10 or 12, 15 years ago, this is where we started this whole referral engine concept, and we did it for the residential real estate industry, because when we tested, we found that if, even with something as high ticket as a home, even if only 3 times a year a realtor or a real estate team would ask their existing client base for referrals, we were seeing an extra 6 to 10 deals a year. So you can do the math. Obviously, with high ticket stuff like real estate, that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. But also, it's all relative, right? A realtor has far fewer number of clients year over year compared to, say, a CPA or a HVAC company. So even though the HVAC company, the return on the return for every piece of referral business they get, it might not be as much money. Your pool is much, much larger. So literally just reminding people, hey, we love referrals. That's all it is. A couple, 3 times a year, that's all you need to do. And these processes actually will help you do it in a way that hopefully makes it much more comfortable for you, so you're not stressed over it, or you don't feel like it's a bad look for your company. So those are the strategies. I think it is important, and maybe it's a little too obvious, but I'm just going to point this out anyway, to note all of these things only will work if you are giving top quality referable business. So before you get down this path too far, definitely, have that conversation, have an honest conversation with yourself, and think to yourself, are you giving five-star business all the time? If you were the customer and you dealt with your staff or your team, or your technicians, would you be satisfied with the service, so much so that you would want to refer that service to your friends and family? And as long as the answer is yes, then absolutely you're on your way, and I implore you to start these things. Get it going today, because it's going to help you grow tomorrow. If though you're not able to honestly say yes to those questions, definitely I would take a pause and skip a beat and really look through your processes and figure out, okay, how do we improve these things? Because the last thing you want to do is shine a spotlight on some internal problems that you're having, because God forbid, if the internal problems are bad enough, this is all gonna do the opposite, right? You're gonna get bad reviews online, and then people, instead of referring you to people, they're going to tell people to stay away from you. So definitely, have an honest look at what you're doing. I mean, you're obviously here listening to this podcast wanting to make your business better. So my gut tells me that you're already on the path to doing great service, but just in full disclosure, I wanted to point that out so nobody accidentally harms themselves. All right, y'all. So that is the end of this podcast today. But before we end it, I want to kind of wrap this up with a recap here. So here's what I really want you to take away from all this. Referrals, remember, they don't happen because you're lucky or you're hoping. They happen because you're intentional and you have a process in mind. So you're going to have systems that invite these conversations and that in turn then make you more referable. It just makes it easier for people to refer their family, friends, and colleagues to you. So what we're going to do, here's your homework, and I want you to comment in the comments what it is you're going to choose to do. And then a week from now, I want you to comment in the comments what the results are and how this has helped. This is literally these steps, these things I've been telling you, literally in the period of a week, you'll start to see a difference. So pick just one thing we talked about today, one of these referral implementation strategies, and implement it. So here's your action items. Pick just one of the implementation strategies to generate referrals that we talked about in this podcast. And I want you to comment in the comments which one you're going to do. And then a week from now, I want you to come back to the comments and comment how it's going. And let's all crowdsource this. We can celebrate each other's successes. If you have questions, definitely ask them in the comments. I'll try to get to as many as I can. Also, in the description in this video is going to be a link to book a discovery call with me. If you're having problems getting these things implemented, or you're not quite sure if you're going about it the exact right way and you want just a fresh set of eyes to look at it, I'm happy to take a look at it with you and give you any kind of actionable advice I can to help you along your way. Thanks so much, everybody. Make it a great day.